Good morning, everyone. Let us come into our meditating position to start our practice for the day. As we sit comfortably, taking a deep breath in, filling up the chest with air, holding on to the breath for a moment as we come into the present, letting go, relaxing the mind, the body, going deeper and deeper into a state of profound relaxation. Gently, gently, gently. Deep breath in again, holding on to the breath, letting go, letting go, letting go. Relax, relax, relax. Take a moment to observe the bliss, the quiet, the tranquility of the present, not with attachment, but with the power of presence, the lightness of life when we put aside the past and the future and just be within what is now, of this moment. When the mind is free from the tug of the hindrances, when the mind is free of the glues of prapancha, and we silently, completely at peace, remain within the present, free of greed, hatred, or delusion. With every passing moment, the mind becoming ever so quiet and tranquil within the present. Not because you want the mind to become tranquil and quiet. The mind gracefully embraces the present for what the present has to offer. Peace, awareness, surpassing any experience that is most often short-lived. The experience of the present pervades through the body and the mind. Allow yourself to be aware of this present as you bring yourself to it, to embrace the present without any fear or regret at all. Simply being, being, being. Gently, gently, gently. letting go of the wandering, inquisitive nature that keeps you attached to the future and what is going to happen next, letting go. And this will ease your moment of presence, calm it even further. Simply being here in the now. Letting go of any need to compare this moment with the moments you've had in the past, hence letting go of the past as well. Being right here, sharing in the collective energy of all meditators and practitioners across the world. Sharing in the collective energy of the present moment, motivating and inspiring this practice of ours. Gently, with a steadfast mind, with a mind present and a mind not prone to the seduction of the senses, focused, aware. Let us gently guide our attention to the elements of the present. Without any hurriedness within the mind, maintaining a calm and tranquil sense of presence and awareness. Let us gently advert the mind to the elements, earth, fire, wind and water, found all across the head and the face, everything above the shoulders. Let us advert the mind in this state of presence. See what is now. Observe without attachment. Observe. The stiffness, the temperature, the movement, nature of cohesion. Be present in the now as we observe the four elements all across the head, the face, the neck, everything above the shoulders. The mind may at times wander. Let us simply bring it back to observe, to be present, learning from whatever mistakes that are made to further strengthen the practice. Observe. Observe. There might be certain things that you have to let go of that might help us go deeper, to observe deeper. So let us be attentively present to pick up on the opportunities to let go, to let go. Deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. Connecting with the present in a way that you have never connected before. As you let go of those little distractions that appear, all impermanent in nature, all prone to suffering and devoid of self in every aspect of the word. Why bother clinging? If so, let us be present together. Observe. Observe. As we observe, we might be able to see the interconnected nature of the four elements, the Mahabhutas, the stiffness, the hardness that we feel, all around the skin, the face, the head. Sometimes feeling as if the skin wraps around to form a certain formation of hardness, stiffness. And then there is a temperature. The temperature of the body. We feel this more at the top of the head as the temperature leaves the body. But we can also feel this all across the skin. The fire element, when closely observed, can be experienced. Within each and every fiber of your skin. The wind element can be felt at the nostrils very easily. But it can also be experienced all across the skin again with any form of movement, motion, change of temperature, change of lightness or hardness, any movement of the muscles, that is the air element. And then water, cohesion. Observe how the water element holds everything in its place for every other Mahabhuta to do what it does in the way that it does. Observe, observe, observe. Gently see for yourself, letting go, be at ease. Observe, observe, observe. Let us gently, gently guide our attention now from all that is above the shoulders down to the torso, from the shoulders down to the waist. Observe the element. Observe the element. Observe the element. Observe. Observe. Being present, energizing the practice. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Gently, gently. Observe. 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 gently guiding your attention from the torso down to the thighs, the legs, the feet, everything below the waist. Observe the four elements. Observe letting go wherever possible to further reach a state of profound lightness, a state of sustained awareness and samadhi. Observe, observe, observe. Gently, gently. Let us now guide our attention to the breaths as we take a deep breath in, observing the elements within the body. Deep breath in, hold on to the breath for a moment, observe the elements. The change, gently breathing out, relax, observe the elements. Breathe in again. Breathe out. Breathe in, becoming aware of your surroundings, the five senses, the energies and vibrations around you. As you gently, when you are ready, open your eyes. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, everyone. How are you feeling after the meditation?
Feeling good, Bante. Feeling good, relaxed. Little body pain.
Sujata, always keeping it real.
Yes, Bante. I'm very honest with myself.
Good, good, good. So, so with regards to the meditation, the Dhatmansikara, we did it in a little bit of a different manner, where we allowed for the interconnectedness of the dhatus to be sort of, for us to be aware of the interconnectedness of the dhatus, yeah. Right. So, what are your experiences, Hemamali? Would you like to start us off, please?
Yes, Bante, when you say about the Mahabhuta, I realized the hardness. Then the Tejo nature and the temperature and the movement air, and then their work, they are doing harmoniously together, like that feeling. When you say shoulder upwards, I was there with this thing, and then actually Bante, it comes to the present moment, sati, and I found easier sometimes to know prapancha. Sati was there, and then like that from shoulder to waist, same thing. They are working harmoniously together, and then it went to sati, present moment. And after that, from shoulder to feet also the same. It came to the present moment also, Bante. I find it easier.
Yeah. Did you
That's yes, Bante.
did you experience anything new today, Hemamali? New to you?
And new means from the body to the sati, there is a gap from present moment and the body. I saw a little bit gap. That's the only new thing I realized. I observed.
Yeah,
I,
I feel as if for you today, you experience a little bit of a higher state of awareness today in comparison. Um,
okay.
did you do
Y-
you
Yes, Bante, because there's no prapancha. I mean, no wandering,
no wandering?
no wandering. Yes,
No wandering. And that is, and the way that I knew that, Hemali, is because the way that you started meditating and the way when you got up, your body was turned a little bit to the right hand side, right? So, which would say, which normally doesn't happen to you, right? And which is to say, you experience a higher state of awareness today in comparison to the earlier stages. And it was not just samadhi, but you were able to see something a little bit more intriguing, but with vipassana, right? And then, as you would say, it was that gap, wasn't it?
yes,
Yeah. Yep.
yes. I found it, Bante. Yes, there's a
Yeah.
gap when you come to the present moment, sati, and the body. Yes,
Okay. So keep it keep it keep it there. When we sort of, the way that prajnapti, the way that prajnapti works, what we have learned in Abhidhamma is we have a notion about way things should be or way things are, right? And the fact is, now for example, the way යම් කිසි අරමුණක් විශ්ලේෂණය කරන ආකාරය vidarshanave in English, how we understand an object through vipassana, right? Now we would assume, did you get that sentence, everyone? How do we understand an object through vipassana, right? යම්කිසි අරමුණක් විදර්ශනාවෙන් විශ්ලේෂණය කරන්නේ මොන ආකාරකින්ද, right? So we would assume naturally, if we are to look at a certain thing, right? If you are to look at a certain object, you look at it and then you ponder on it and you further sort of observe it, right? And you sort of make like short remarks or conclusions. This is blue, it has a different texture on the back of it. Is the glue good? You make concluding remarks, small short remarks, and then put all of those conclusions together, right? Now in the same manner, we then apply that same manner upon to our meditation, isn't it? Right? Remember the long breath, the short breath, the calm breath, the not so calm breath. Am I able to see the breath? Am I not able to see the breath? That same thing with the dhatus or the vedanas, right? Or the movements in kaya anupassana, right? All of these things we make judgments or conclusions with regard to small actions that make up the whole big action, right? And then we conclude, this is it. Now slowly, right? Now, for example, Hemal, if you think about yourself today in your practice or recollect your practice, or for the others, right? Think about, now I want you to think about this moment in your meditation. You might not have experienced it many times, but in your meditation, minus vitarka plus awareness and plus wisdom. Can you think about such a moment? Right? You have the moment. I can speak in these terms because we have studied the Abhidhamma now, right? The present moment and the object minus vitarka, initial application, plus sati and wisdom, prajna. How does that moment look like? Do you get it? විතර්කේ නැති අවස්ථාවේදී ප්‍රඥාව කුමන ආකාරයකින්ද මනස තුල පැවතෙන්නේ? At the absence of vitarka, how does the mind maintain prajna or have prajna? Or how does prajna exist within the mind at when vitarka is not there? Can you imagine? Right. Now that sense, we might have experienced it a couple of times. Maybe it might have been even a rare occasion. Now, Hemamali, but with what Hemamali spoke of today, I'm sorry to put Hemamali on the spot. But now you see, you observe your awareness. And you observe this sort of gap, or you observe something, you believed something else, but then you say, that's not so, is it? Or you thought, for example, the mind, or it was completely empty. Now that is something we've all experienced, I think, by now. We experience the mind is completely empty. We continue observing, and then you sort of realize, the mind is not empty, is it? Right? Why? Because now the frequency you started, your mind became, your awareness became more fine-tuned. Now what you essentially assumed there was not, now there is. Right? Now you realize there is something in the mind, right? Something very subtle. Now that subtlety, now there is a moment that you can classify as where there is vitarka, where it's through questioning, right? Another question, another way of adverting to that object, right? Through questioning. And then where the vidarshana, that part, the vitarka is not there. But you have the aha moment. That aha moment is not based off vitarka. That aha moment is based off prajna. Do you get it? You can't imagine it. You have to sort of see it through your practice. Right? Does it make sense to anyone? Yeah. Where it is not, because where it is completely, that prajna moment minus the vitarka comes in. Now, let us say, I'm trying to prove something to myself. Right? I'm trying to prove something to myself. When I'm trying to prove something to myself, or when I'm trying to prove something to another person, I keep on telling these many things. I am this, I am that, I have done this. You know, we are constantly vitarka, you see. Vitarka. Right? Questions. Doubts, again, impinging, trying to prove, trying to push something. Right? A sense of instability and restlessness. Right? In the action of trying to prove. When there is nothing to prove, you are in a position of confidence, comfort, stability. Right? When you're just present, you have nothing to prove. You're just in a position of presence. Right? Let us take the example of you have gone to socialize with a couple of people, one friend you know, the other friends you don't know, right? Now you want to sort of put your best, you want to put your best foot forward, so you keep on talking, you keep on saying things about yourself or things that you like, you know what I mean, right? You keep on saying. In the other occasion, same occasion of you're going to meet, a friend has invited you, you're going to meet some people who are not your friends, but friends of your friend. And you're not interested, I mean, you know, you're just there, you're present, you're confident, you know, you're just there, you don't need to prove anything or whatnot, you're just being present. Two very different experiences, isn't it? Right? I'm talking about that second experience. Right? Without that agitation of mind. You're with that moment at that present. දැන් බලන්න ප්‍රඥප්තියෙන් අපි කැඩෙන ආකාරය උතන. තේන්න? How we break away from that sammuti of thinking that this is the way I'm understanding. This is my prajna. ඒ ප්‍රඥාවෙන් අපි ගැලවෙනවා. Do you get it? So subtle, in a very subtle manner, when we think we have nothing to let go of, the thought of nothing to let go itself is a vitarka again there, which is then self, the notion, the maturity of self, that self you are now slowly letting go. Do you get it? So when we are looking at an object, if we are 100% secure with the object, again 100%, in these short practices that we do, we learn more about what Patavi is, what Tejo is, what Vayo is, what Apo is. When that jnana improves, that jnana gives way for prajna to stabilize itself. Do you get it? In the minds of the people, sometimes when you realize, is this Patavi, is this Vayu, is this Apo, there is a little bit of, I'm not sure. When you're not sure, what happens is the prajna is destabilized. But when you, let us say, you don't want to be sure, you're letting go, you're just being in the present. At that moment, what happens is you're giving yourself room to observe. Do you get it? That is the balance of sati in the mind. Make a harim assume deak. Right? You don't try to understand in terms of my words. Try to, understand, think about it in terms of what you've experienced in your meditation. Right? Because it's very, very subtle. Right? That is where the sati balance is. Where now you are not inclined, or you're not again the vitarka which pushes you to know, am I doing this correctly? You don't need to affirm to yourself, even because there is no self to affirm to in the first place, right? There's nothing to affirm this is correct or this is true, because why do you want to do the correct thing? Because of self again, right? Because of self again. When you let go, no, let me be in the present. Because sometimes this object, it's moving so fast, right? Amaru allaganna. Is this the right thing? But then the moment that if I am to say, the moment I am not trying to grasp the entirety of it and just simply being and observing, a attitude the object becomes calmer. Because the object becomes restless with the mind being restless. Remember, the object is in the mind, right? It's taken by the mind as object. So it's a mental object. When the mind is then resonating at a frequency of instability, the object becomes difficult to see. So what do? Ethanit, okay, hold on. There's nothing to be excited about. Come to the present. And then when you let go of that unsupported vitarka, unsupported need to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and just present, letting go of all that sort of anxiety, of all of that sort of restlessness, then you come into a position where the mind manifests a calm, vivid, clear object. Do you understand? It happens in a speck of a moment, right? Just by a shift in your attitude. The moment the object becomes too difficult to observe, that is what happens. So that is why we find Anapana very difficult. Because Anapana is so closely related to the mind, when we have to, because from the beginning to the end, it requires subtlety. And when there is no subtlety, what happens is with the turbulent lives that we live, the object can shift into being restless very quickly. When it's restless, we can't see. We can't go fine tune it, polish it. Do you, in a way, understand? Yeah. Hemal, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, Bante. Actually, according to my understanding, Bante, when I think separately. Now, say above head, the skull is hard, and then the water cohesion is there. Then I felt that they are working together harmoniously. I found it easier. They are working together harmoniously. Then came to the present moment, and then I realized, Bante, this is what when someone is in meditation, this is the state, and I understood that. Then I felt happy. I'm not low. I am in the. I mean, this is what the meditative experience I felt, Bante. Yes,
Okay.
but that's the way I understand.
Yeah. So when that feeling of this is that meditative experience
Experience.
is a fine tuning of what you already sort of saw before, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like confidence arising in terms of what you're practicing.
Mm.
Right. Now, this is to say, Hema Mali, with what I just mentioned, it is not to say that this sort of vitarka which initially arises helping us to understand the object has to be sort of let go on from the get-go, right? The vitarka helps us to a certain extent, right? And it should be there because you can manipulate it or use it to understand an object deeper, but don't cling on to it. Do you understand?
Mm.
Don't grow completely dependent upon the vitarka, right? Now, for example, when we first start practicing, let me take Vedananupassana, you question, where is the Vedana? What does the Vedana look like? Initially, we start like that, isn't it? Right? Okay, when I say let's go to the shoulders, you go to the shoulders, and then you're like, okay, where is the Vedana now? What is the Vedana? How can I find the Vedana? These questions that you ask yourself in your mind is what puts you on the path to now discover the answers to those questions initially, right? Now, as you find the answers, now when you ask the question, where is the Vedana? The answer is the Vedana is there. What have you got to do? Let go of the questioning bit and then just be present with whatever sensations are in that part of the body, right? How do I observe? You observe by simply being present. But now, initially, when I said, or when some other teacher said, be present, we didn't really understand how. Because there are so many nitty-gritties in being present, isn't it? It's not just, we can't take it as face value. When you say being present, there's a technique which we discover for ourselves with the practice, right? So initially, of course, the vitarka puts us onto or guides us into a particular path. But then for us to go on, to move on, the vitarka must slowly die down. We must let go of the vitarka and then focus on simply being present without the vitarka. That is, to do that, we have to have a certain amount of confidence in what we have experienced. This confidence does not arise from mana. It arises from as a byproduct of jnana and prajna. Right? Jnana and prajna supported by the essence of sati. මොකද මම මේක දැනගත්තේ සතියෙන් හෝ සතිමත්ව ඉඳීමෙන්. It is during or whilst I was in sati that I was able to bring these two together, jnana and prajna. Do you get it? Right? Now, we have 5 minutes. So, the last vipassana jnana that we did was Vuttana Gamini vipassana jnana, isn't it? Vuttana Gamini. Now from Vuttana Gamini, next we have Anuloma, Gotrabhu, Jnana Dasana, and then Jnana Dasana Vishuddhi. Under Jnana Dasana, Magga jnana, Phala jnana, Paccavekkhana jnana, Phala Samapatti jnana, Phala Samapatti jnana. That is the end. Right? Vuttana Gamini, Anuloma and Gotrabhu. Right? Anuloma and Gotrabhu jnanas, what it does is, now we have learnt all through the previous jnanas, Nama Rupa and all of this, we have built an amount of jnana facilitated by the vipassana, of course, and vipassana means prajna, with regards to whatever object that we were observing, with regards to mind and matter and the panchaskandha and everything of the universe within this body. We have been observing. Whilst we have now been observing through the jnanas, we have grown a sense of affirming its true reality. Right? Affirming its true reality. Remember, I am using the word confidence, but with a great amount of caution, because being confident is not being one deluded nor being cocky. Right? None of that ego. Right? Being confident is me at the සතියෙන් දැක ගැනීමෙන් හටගන්න ඒ අර ශ්‍රද්ධාව දැන් මෙතන හටගන්නේ ධර්මය කෙරෙහි. තේරුණාද? Do not, because sometimes we use this, we grow confidence in all the wrong ways. Right? This is, when we say confidence, it is Shraddha. Right? Confidence is Shraddha, but confidence here through experiential wisdom towards the Dhamma, through which Buddha Dhamma Sangha තුනම ඇති වෙනවා. ඒ ධර්මයේ කෙරෙහි තමයි මේ confidence හටගන්නේ. Right? That is with prajna. Right? Confidence will always have prajna there. That confidence, what happens is, through the jnanas that we observe, through the jnanas, this jnana, when brought together, it points us towards, let us say, there's a tunnel, and at the end of this tunnel, there's a light. That is Anuloma. Right? That is Anuloma. Right? Anuloma jnana. ඒ කියන්නේ සංඛාරූපේක්ඛා මේ සියලු ඥානවල වලින් අපිට දැනගන්න ලැබුණු විදර්ශනාවෙන් ප්‍රගුණ කරගන්න පුළුවන් වුණු ඒ සියලු ඥාන දත්ත විදර්ශනාව ඔක්කොම එකතු කරලා දැන් අපිට යම් කිසි විදියකට තේරෙනවා නිවන තියෙන්නේ අතන. තේරෙනවද? Right? We understand with all of those jnanas put together, we come to understand, or we come to, with everything that is wholesome, we get an inclination. This is nirvana. Nirvana is there. It is through this path that nirvana is attained. That is Anuloma jnana. Nivanata Anuloma vima. Right? And that is different to the sutra technique, or rather that is different to just the colloquial conversation of vipassana, because now we are with fact. Right? We are with fact. It is rather than saying, okay, it is rather than saying Australia is that side, right? This is how you go to Australia, right? And you're just thinking of the direction to Australia, right? In Anuloma jnana, you know exactly what the road is. Do you understand? Right? For example, for me, if I am to say I'm going to London, I'm thinking about the direction to London, which is south of me, right? Southwest of me, right? From Colchester. But in Anuloma jnana, I know exactly what road to take, where to turn, which at this point I don't know. Do you get it? Right? That is Anuloma jnana. With all of the insight built from all the jnanas prior, now the mind, now this is not just a prajñapti. At this stage, it is not a prajñapti. It is as if there is something at your grasp right there, right? Right there, and you just need to extend your hand and grab it. It is so near. Nothing of this is prajñapti now. Earlier, there was a time that it was prajñapti, right? You could have fallen away from it, right? බඩගිනි මනුස්සයා ඉස්සරාම මනුස්සයාට ඉස්සරාම කෑම පිගානක් තියෙනට මනුස්සයාට අල්ලලා කන්න විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. This is that moment. Right? The plate of food, nivana, is right in front of you. You just have to extend. Now that you Anuloma jnana, you exactly see it right in front of you. Right? Gotrabhu jnana. Right? Gotrabhu. So if we are to speak about in Abhidhamma terms Anuloma, just imagine an object has arisen within the eye. Manodwara vajana adverts, or the Panchadwara vajana now adverts or brings the mind attention to that object. Do you understand? That is Anuloma jnana. Gotrabhu jnana is this. The fact that you see now at this point, when you say Gotrabhu, Gotrabhu is having seen. Right? බඩගිනි මනුස්සයා කලින් කෑම නැති අවස්ථාවේ මට බඩගිනි කියලා දඟලනවා. පිච්චෙනවා. පිච්චි ඉන්නවා. He's burning from hunger. He's experiencing the fires of hunger. That is his at that moment, that is his krutya, that is his function. Feeling hungry. Do you understand? When the plate of food is right in front of him, the function changes for that man. Now, it is not for him to be feeling the fires of hunger, it is for him to now eat, isn't it? Do you understand? That is Gotrabhu jnana. Therunada. Right? Why? Because there is no need for him to feeling the fires of hunger. He now has to eat it. Now from feeling hunger, he completely changes in function to now eating whatever which is in front of him. Gotrabhu. ඒ පෘථුග්ජන මනුස්සයාගේ ගෝත්‍රය වෙනස් වෙනවා. Do you understand? ඒ ගෝත්‍රය වෙනස් වෙන්නේ ඇයි නිවන දැන් කලින් earlier we only had an ideology about what nivana is. Right? However much Dhamma we know. Right? The Buddha says however much, even though you might have swept through the Tripitaka, swept through all the Dhamma taught by the Buddha, up until you actually see it for yourself, you do not know exactly what Nivana is because it is beyond any concept that which is of the world. Right now, the person now being able to see Nivana, which is that plate of food, now his entire concept, his entire life changes just by seeing the amalgamation, the harmonious integration of mind in such a foreign fashion, so different, so uniquely different to what we were once used to as pratujjanas, that his whole life changes. That is Gotrabhu jnana. Do you understand? Right? After Gotrabhu jnana arises, right? Now there is no turning back here. Okay? I mean, from Sankharupeka, the turning back, there is no turning back. Gotrabhu jnana, and then comes the jnana dasana vishuddhi, which is when you see that, you're going to eat this meal. Right? You're going to eat this meal. When the mind is completely, now your function changed, but you still haven't started eating it. Now the mind, the body adverts to the plate of food, and now you start going towards it to pick it up or to do whatever. Let's say it's a burger, yeah? So it's easy to pick it up. So you it's a burger and so your hand, your eyes, whatever your object, it's completely on it. That moment where your senses, your everything, mind and body is inclined towards the plate of food and you're going towards it, that is magga. Do you understand? And nothing is going to stop you. It's because it's so close to you. That is magga. The magga chitta. Now the vibration of the magga chitta. After the magga chitta, the moment that you pick it up and you bring it to your mouth and you eat it, that is the phala. Do you understand? Right? Do you understand? Right? The moment the food touches your mouth and you feel the taste of it, and once you do, you're entirely changed. Right? There is no going back. Does that make sense, everyone? That is Phala Jnana there. Now, those four, right? Those four from Vuttanaga, from Anuloma Gotrabu, Magga Phala, right? Those four, they happen succeeding one another. Right? It does not take a long time. It happens rapidly right after one another at that same sitting. Right? At that same sitting. Right? Because at that moment, because you have worked for this for so long, it happens as a series right after one another, and right after that, what happens is phala. After the phala, then paccavekkhana jnana. Now you sort of attribute to the qualities of enlightenment that you have attained to. Pratyavekshana karanama. Right? You see the attributes of mind. You see what is there. Right? What is there. And having seen what is there at any time, paccavekkhana jnana and then phala samapatti. Phala samapatti is the jnana that you can attribute at any moment in your life after you have attained to whatever stage. So Sotapanna Phala Samapatti, Sakuddagami Phala Samapatti, Anagami Phala Samapatti, and Arhatta Phala Samapatti, that you can attain to at any stage. Do you understand? Does it make sense, everyone? Right? So in the same way, why I brought that up is in Anuloma, right? What can we learn from that Anuloma apita? When you know Patavi, Tejo, Vayu, Apo, and when you know, as you move on, as your Vipassana improves, you're going to know, experience for yourself more and more and more and more and more. So then the important fact is that you have the foundations for your Vipassana to grow. For your Vipassana to grow, there needs not be any attachment. There is no physical push that you can give for your Vipassana to grow. It is only in the ability of understanding Prajna that your Vipassana grows. On the foundation of letting go, Nekkhamma, Avihimsa, Avyapada, that Vipassana grows. Hence, what happens is, for your Vipassana at that point, what you realize is then, how do I let go? How do I maintain a mind devoted towards the understanding of characteristic without the push of want, without the push of craving? Do you understand? That is a state of balance that we arrive to slowly. ඒක කරාගන්න විදි ආකාරය පොඩි ඒ කියන්නේ මනසට එක පාරටම දැන් අපි අරමුණත් එක්ක ඉන්න වෙලාවේ යම්කි සිතුවිල්ලක් හට ගන්නවා. ඒක තරහක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, රාගයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අයියෝ මම මොන මේ විකාරයක් කරනද මන්ද කියලා හිතෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඒ හිතෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? I mean, a whole barrage of things can arise in the mind. ඒ වෙලාවට යෝනිසෝ මනසිකාරය මොකක්ද කුමක්ද හරි යෝනිසෝ මනසිකාරය මට මේ දෙය අත්තරලා මගේ මාර්ගයේ තව ඉදිරියට අරන් යන්න. මේ මාර්ගය ඉදිරියට යන්න. That balance lies in those small crevices, everyone, between those lines. When you realize what that balance is, that changes. Do you understand? Yeah. So slowing down. Yeah. Does that make sense, everyone? Right? Think about it. Right? Contemplate, go over these words again and contemplate it. I will upload the session as well if you like. And think about it again in your practice, right? In your practice, when you're practicing day by day, and you will realize, you will figure out for yourself those bits and parts. No one can teach you. No one can teach you those parts, not even the Buddha, because those parts have to be realized by you. Right? Those parts have to be realized by you. And when you grab hold of the technique to do so, it becomes very much comfortable. Right? Comfortable. Yes, Mala.
Bhante, with the word Anuloma, I have read there's another word called Viloma, Anuloma, Viloma. Is it the same thing or a different concept?
What is the definition that you got for Anuloma there?
Just what you said.
Okay.
Just now, yeah.
Oh, well, yes. I think it is the same thing. The thing is, Viloma is not used in Vipassana because it has nothing to do with Vipassana but the distraction of mind. ඒ කියන්නේ යම් කිසි දෙයකින් we retract ourselves, right? ඒ කියන්නේ අකුසලයකින් අපි අකුසල් අරමුණකින් අකුසල් චේතනාවන් වලින් අකුසල් මනසවල් වලින් අපි විලෝම කරා ගැනීම. ඒ කියන්නේ we retract ourselves, we bring ourselves back. Right, we sort of, the example is what are those sort of animals who kind of roll into like a protective shell? A protective shell, they sort of curl up. Those cute little sort of with the, what are the animals? A hedge. Is it a hedgehog? No, the hedgehog has spikes, right? There's this other animal who has like it has like a guard, a shield of sorts, and he rolls up into this sort of,
Tortoise? No.
A tortoise? Well, we can take a tortoise as well, but not so. That other animal is a perfect example, right? Because the tortoise always has a shell, right? But we can take a tortoise as well. But regardless, what happens is it kind of rolls into this ball, right? And you find it in a lot of children's cartoons as well, right? It's not a hedgehog. It's this sort of animal that rolls, and it has this sort of protective shell around it, right? That protect it. And Viloma is that kind of thing. When akusal, Anuloma is applying you yam kisi dekata Anuloma. I mean, it's in Sinhala as well, isn't it? We advert ourselves to just that. So yes, Mala, right? It is in the same sense, but Viloma, we do not find it in Vipassana teachings.
Bhante, pangolin.
A pangolin.
Pangolin.
Okay. I've not heard that word.
Yes, pangolin is the one who curled up. Yes, rolled.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, pangolins. Yes.
Pangolins.
Yeah. So I don't know whether you can see it.
Yeah, it's very scaly. Very scaly.
Yeah, very scaly. It's a very scaly animal.
Yeah, it's curl up. Yeah.
I don't know whether you can see it. Yes. So anyways, yes. So that is all the time that we have for today. Please, ponder over it, continue your practice. It is of utmost importance, because if we are sort of progressing in our Vipassana, allow that to sort of continuously grow. And make sure that you have a dedicated practice every single day. And all the best to all of us.
Thank you, Bante.
And take care, everyone. Teran Sannai.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you.
Everyone, Bante.